Greetings and peace to you all. My name is Umi, and it has been quite some time since I've posted on my YouTube channel. And as a result of that, I've actually lost a few friends, folks who really value content creators or those with a platform speaking out or condemning things that are happening around the world. And I wanted to hop on to check in on y'all, see how you're doing, how's your spirit, where are you in the world? Is there anything I can do to support you, encourage you during this time? But I also wanted to talk about a very important topic. At least it's important for me, and I know people are in different stages of their spiritual journey. Their life path may consist of a lot of highs and lows, and for some may not feel as intense. So take it as it resonates. I wanted to speak for a moment on self-hate. And this came up for me because at one point I'm always kind of indulging in information. Not something I encourage, but just my natural way of processing the world around me is to listen, tune in, to try to receive insight, direction, experiences from what others share. So of course I've cautioned against that in other videos, like the video on spiritual hygiene, why it's very important to avoid the sort of overconsumption of information and analysis paralysis and just kind of bouncing from one thing to another. But in the midst of my kind of search and listening and taking a step back, as some of you know, I came on YouTube in like 2012, and it's like just the beginning of a lot of spiritual information and content was being produced at that time. And then as the years progressed and more people, influencers, astrologers, readers came online, I didn't feel the urge to talk as much. Again, in the midst of all that, I acknowledged levels of self-hate, and what that could obviously vary for different people. You may experience self-hate in a way that may not, be that it's obvious that that's what that is. It's important to talk about this because as much as we can seek out this deeper knowledge and esoteric studies and these religious and spiritual teachings that are so in depth and heavy and, they just grab our attention, we can still be very sick on the inside. We can still be dealing with a level of self-hate that we project into the world around us. And the reason I was able to observe this certain self-hate was through relationships. For some of you, it could just be your eating habits. It could be certain addictions and patterns of behavior where the underlying or the root cause to that behavior is a form of self-hate, something about yourself that you have a disdain for, something about yourself that you resent, some experience that you maybe had in the past that you really feel embarrassed, ashamed about, or you regret. And there can be certain behaviors that we carry out as a result of that self-hate. And so how do we combat that? What is the solution to self-hate? Why is this relevant right now? Or you may feel like you absolutely love yourself, and that is amazing. But you may know someone else who can observe certain patterns of behavior, and they may not attribute it to a sense of self-hate. Now, because self-hate is such a strong reference to say, I hate myself, and you may not resonate with that, I want you to look at it from the perspective of how much of your life or the activities or behaviors in your life reflect self-love. What do you do in your life that really helps you to feel a sense of, I do appreciate myself. I do walk every morning. I do journal. I do read. I do console myself. I do have all of these techniques I've introduced that really reflect self-love. And that could have been something you naturally evolved into. The taking care of oneself, with listening to oneself, with appreciating and valuing yourself so much so that you're not putting yourself in dangerous situations, in toxic relationships. You're not overindulging or have addictive behavior, which essentially damages the physical body, damages the brain, damages our emotional and spiritual well-being. Take a moment to reflect on that and know that it is so amazing to pursue knowledge and information. It's great because we have access to these things, and there's a wide spectrum of information you can consume. But before we get years can go by of us in this constant pursuit of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, that we completely overlook the inner work, the inner alchemy, and from a real application where it could take some time to really see results. So if Thursday I don't like myself, I have these addictive habits, like let's say I'm drinking, and then Friday I get some information that helps me realize why that is or why I have these patterns, I can't fully say that I've learned that lesson, I've applied that lesson in 24 hours, right? It takes time. It takes certain challenges in life to help us to see if we've really gotten past that thing. It takes time to see if we're really able to engage with people without a sort of toxic exchange. We have to evolve. We have to go through some stages of personal development. So this is just a friendly reminder that in the midst of everything that is happening in the world, all the opinions that are being shared, all of the knowledge and information that is flooding on the internet, all of the deep, esoteric, mystical stuff that we love to tune into, step back and reflect on how you have shifted, how you have transformed in a way that reflects, damn, I do love myself. I am experiencing this level of self-love that allows me to extend myself to others, allows me to be more patient with others, more responsive to others, more gentle with others, to actually go out and take action against the things I hate seeing in this world. There's obviously a lot happening in the world right now, and I know many of you have seen the comment section on any given kind of controversial video or content. You go to the comment section and people are outright at each other's throats. Some are threatening death and other means of harm to those they disagree with. That is a reflection of self-hate. That's just plain and simple. Because when you hate yourself for whatever your ideologies, beliefs, your skin color, whatever it stands for, you hate that so much that you lash out at others. You're extra defensive because you want to hide behind this behavior. You want to hide behind your ideologies, even though they reflect a strong measure of self-hate. So it's obviously a lot to think about, and I can't tell anyone what to do. This is just my personal opinion and what I observed about myself and how I'm coming to kind of refine my beliefs and help me to step more confidently on my path as someone who, consumes information, knowledge, and I want to share things with people, not only from my own personal experience, but my understanding of knowledge and information in a way that's digestible for others. It's not so high level. So in order to do that, I also wanted to make sure I'm being genuine, that I'm speaking from this space of lived experience and how I'm sharing things with people. And I realized that in the years of the consumption of information and books and research, it always comes back to self. It always comes back to self. And if more people on the planet spent enough time in analyzing themselves, analyzing their spiritual need, assessing where they are in their journey, I feel like we would have a lot less hostility, harm, threats, and we would show up for one another from a more genuine, heartfelt, and deep sense of love. And y'all know I don't really care for all the foo-foo, love and butterflies, because I realize we're in a very harsh environment. We're in a spiritual war right now. We do not war against flesh and blood. So being super nice isn't always helpful when there are people around us that have, intentions that could be very threatening. However, as we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that scripture that reflects on fearing no evil comes with a level of self-awareness and self-love that will protect us in this time. It may not even protect our physical body, but it can protect your soul. It can protect your soul. And that is what we walk through dimensions with. That is what we walk through time with, is the essence of who we are, and how God manifests in us. So continue to tune into that. I will shut the video off here, but I'm certainly curious to hear from some of you. How are you doing? Just genuinely, how's your spirit? What have you been up to? Do you have any books or content you'd like to recommend that could encourage or inspire others? Please share. And until next time, peace.